I gotta love Creative Assembly. Two announcements today, neither of them really gave a ton of new information, except I guess they have two games they're gonna announce later this year in December as they do this 25th anniversary Total War thing, 20th anniversary, whatever. They also gave some news on 6.2, which again, I don't think any of that is necessarily new, but yeah, it's a Noblar bolt thrower and a new variant of Blood Knights. I'm going to be coming with that update. Going to be coming very soon. Hopefully I'll receive that update a little early and can show you guys some early access of that. But today here, we're going to ignore the not-so-new news and instead focus on this battle here. We've got a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Metal up on a dragon, which is automatically a super cool choice. A bunch of Marauder Horsemen throwing axes. We've got the Regiment of Renown Skull Crushers, Regiment of Renown Rot Knights, more throwing axes, and then some Marauders in the back. This is, I believe, Scarbrand, the player here. Obviously, Scarbrand, the actual unit, is not on the field. We've got Shredder of Lustria and Salon of Life with some skink cohorts. Looks like Red Crest on the flank here, some Cold One Spear Riders, and the Umbral Tide as well. So let's get things rolling. And nice to see some announcements from Creative Assembly. But like I said, not really a ton of new information there necessarily, but new variant of Blood Knights is certainly going to be cool. I'm curious to see if the other changes come for the vampire counts. I know they did do a big rework for magic items in general, especially for campaign. It remains to be seen. I don't think that will really affect multiplayer at all. My guess is they're probably doing this whole magic item rebalance as to not affect multiplayer as much as possible. Just so they don't have to do too much rebalancing there. But, I mean, it remains to be seen, I guess. Maybe they mentioned it in the blog and I just missed it. I do admit I kind of just skimmed it because it didn't seem like there was that much relevant information. But Shredder of Lustria currently just getting absolutely gatted by throwing axes here. Marauder Horsemen throwing axes. Such a great unit overall, historically, and still to this day. But a nice breath attack here. Doesn't actually do too much damage to the Cold One Spear Riders. We also do see an early regrowth on the Shredder as it looks to try and find some targets here. Rotting Riders going to eat some damage, increased damage due to their regeneration from the Umbral Tide there. So it's nice back and forth, but with all the protection away, Chaos Sorcerer Lord lands with his dragon, on the Slan. Isn't going to hang around too long, as there's Cold One Spear Riders and Salamanders to help defend there. Not to mention the Shredder still kind of hanging around here. Not really able to commit too heavily to an engagement yet. But, yeah, up here on the high ground, Cold One Spear Riders get involved against some Marauder Horsemen. And the Cold Ones also do an okay job against the Knights of the Brazen Throne initially, but they are going to get outnumbered pretty heavily here. Knights of the Brazen Throne kind of pull away. Dragon's going to land on their heads. A little tail swipe attack there. Let's see. The Hell Cannon continuing to rain some shots on the Umbral Tide there, but Rotting Riders looking like they might be having some issues. Yeah, Cold One Spear Riders move in. They do get terrified away by the Rotting Riders, but yeah, the other unit's able to hold, and the Marauders get terrified away, so some nice back and forth there. Searing Doom, such a great spell against cavalry, especially. It's going to blast through those Shield of the Old, the Cold Ones through Shield of the Old Ones, just bypassing that damage resistance. Swing and a miss on that banishment as well. Tried to time it as the cavalry were pulling through, and unfortunately did not get good contact there. But yeah, Lizardmen having a little bit of leadership issues, but still largely have a lot of their HP intact. A lot of these Cold One Spear Riders still moving up. Throwing axes at close range, landing. Shredder, again, sort of stutter stepping on its attacks a little bit here. We are going to see a big old final transmutation. Not overcast, but still hits a lot of key units here. It's going to help finish off leadership for some. Yeah, Salamanders, due to the low sort of numbers in this Lizardman build, now don't have the protection from the mobility of the Marauder Horsemen. Shredder will try and get out after them, but they were still able to rout the Umbral Tide in that uptime. Now the Tide is going to have a tough time getting back in the fight. Their leadership is low enough at this point that the Marauders probably can just chase them away. And the Shredder definitely needs to come back and try and protect the Slan. And just fight side by side with the Slan. Yes, no slime here. Although certainly slime being dropped in the form of throwing axes continuously, but more regrowths as well. That Vigor refresh in this sort of mid-game is a great time to get it. Shredder will move in. And let's see here. Yeah, obviously Terror going to take hold. It is just Marauders after all. But a lot of the high-value stuff, the Knights of the Brazen Throne, the Rotting Riders have been dealt with. The Cold One Spear Riders have been doing a pretty decent job out here in space, making sure to continue dealing with these units. So it's certainly not out of the woods yet. Shredder is such a presence now that, yeah, Balance Power is actually going to tip the Lizardmen's favor as they clean up some of these elite high-value targets. Let's see here. We're going to see some more throwing axes into the Salon of Life. Definitely need to get rid of him if they can. Stop the healing on the Shredder. But likewise, the Dragon Lord has to be super careful about where and when he drops. Here, he has a pretty safe bet to at least get a couple of attacks in for the Cold One Spear Riders, and more importantly, the Shredder land. The Spear Riders might be able to keep them dropped, but looks like a bait, potentially. Earthblood is popped, but a Final Transmutation also cast there. It's going to do some really nice damage to the Cold One Spear Riders. Help get that very important unit off the field. The Rallied Rotting Riders also a run through. Their regeneration will allow them to kind of hang around in this late game, whereas the Knights of the Brazen Throne had a little bit of a tougher time doing that. Breath attack as well, at short range, going to get full contact on the Shredder, quickly approaching its healing tap. Got some, yeah, some Hell Cannon shots also potentially getting interrupted by the Dragon's specific positioning, but soon should roll another Searing Doom there. Actually does hit some of the Spear Riders as they ride through. Cold-blooded, keeping their leadership up for now. But let's see here. Hell Cannon targeting the Shredder is going to take some damage from it. The Shredder will, that is. And let's fast forward a little bit as the Shredder kind of cleans up some of these last few. Scarbrand using up the last of his ammunition here for committing to the final melee engagement. But the two Knights of the Brazen Throne, of course, they can just be thrown in here. Whoop. One might have just got killed by the Auda, and the other one gets eaten by the Shredder. So, yep, that's them done. Meanwhile, Skinks try and get back on the Hell Cannon, but the Marauder Horsemen are having none of that. They're able to interrupt things alive, and the Shredder is officially heal capped. So, honestly, might be worth casting Regrowth purely for the Vigor refresh in the late game. Hard to say, but Searing Doom, Tormentor Sword freezes him in place, and Searing Doom, actually, because the Shredder is so thick, it does have enough. Like, pretty much all the missiles hit, and does some solid damage against the Shredder, so, yeah, maybe if he has enough of those Searing Dooms left in the tank, might be more efficient, actually, than trying to use Final Transmutation to win here, just due to the fact of the difference in Winds and Magic cost. If you think about it here, Searing Doom's only 6, Final Transmutation is 17, almost 3 times the Winds of Magic cost, right? So, very significant at this late stage. Shredder's going to be dodging the Hell Cannon shots as much as it can. Let's see here. Shredder takes an attack in the back from the Dragon. Dragon then is going to get smashed back, probably. Nope. The melee attack does not get through the melee defense. The Dragon Lord, another Searing Doom lands there, and the leadership is starting to falter for the Shredder. Cold-blooded is popped. Try and keep it in the fight. Ooh, that Dragon did a little tricky little vertical takeoff there. And now lands once more. The Rotting Riders still here. Nope. Yeah, they actually are still here. A little bit of anti-large damage they've been contributing as well. Heal on the Salon himself. Rotting Riders swing back over. A little rear charge. Ooh, let's pull up the health bars. Let's see. Dragon Lord is getting absolutely pummeled right now. If he goes down, that could be army losses or Chaos. But instead, the Shredder of Lustria loses out on its leadership, basically guaranteeing the Chaos Sword will survive. He pulls away, gets back up into the air, and the Shredder Tormentor Sword once more absolutely feasting value as it freezes him in place, allows those Rotting Riders to get that extra damage in, make sure he can't come back from rout. And now I think with just the Salon left, there's not a lot of hope. Yeah, Salon's also heal capped, and the Rotting Riders move through to start to deal with him. as the Marauder Horsemen chase away the Shredder of Lustria. So a nice back and forth, but Skarbrand ultimately able to take home the win, using that beautiful Searing Doom against the thick Shredder. I love to see it. I love to see the synergy, the energy, the Kenergy. Anyway, that's a game, and a beautiful one at that. Love to see me some Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Metal. He's secretly one of my favorite generic lords ever since Warhammer 1, like even in campaign and stuff. The fact he gets a Dragon Mount is very cool, and the Dragon Mount certainly put to good use in this battle. Maybe one of the better replays I've seen from the Chaos Sorcerer Lord over the years. Almost 4,000 damage value, 20,000 damage dealt. Pretty close, 18,000 basically. Then the Rotting Riders, they hang around to the late game, get some massive value. The Knights of the Brazen Throne, not so much, but hey, they're a cool unit to bring nonetheless. Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, all extremely cost-effective, including 2 of them, which basically double their damage value. Not really surprising against a faction with heavily armored monsters. You basically always want throwing axes, in my opinion, especially given the shields also help against, like, incidental small arms fire of the Lizardmen. And then, yeah, the Fel Cannon also gets some really nice value. As expected, some of the Cold One Riders also, the Spear Riders, get some really good value. The Shredder of Lustria, despite getting over 3,000 damage value, I think technically doesn't even pay for itself, but still does close to what it needs to win. Just probably not quite finishing off the Lord there. Maybe if you get a couple better dice rolls in that duel, maybe get the Sorcerer Lord down to the point where you could either chase him off or finish him off. Definitely could have swung things, but Kaiju, another friend of the channel, put in his best effort, and it was definitely a fun one for sure. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.